Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Nick Manel. One of my favorite expressions has always been God whispers to us all differently, hoping we'll tell each other. Now, whatever you deem God to be in that sentence, whether it's creator, energy, universe, higher power, intuition, superconsciousness, it doesn't matter. There are unique things, perspectives that I believe each of us are given, which contribute to the advancement of the whole. So that being said, very simply, there are some things I'd like to share with you because they've been valuable learnings and discoveries to me over time. I have found that for most of my life, when I would consider my big picture wants, goals, desires, investments, I would often not consider where or how my smallest efforts were contributing. One of the things I've found to be really important to take into consideration is that everything is a transfer, a movement of energy. Money is an energy. We work, we expend this energy, this focus, this attention, our time, and we receive in return a store of value, a representation of that energy that was put forth that we call money. That store of energy is then transferred and built upon, and we call that wealth, and it continues on and on and on. A really great, simple way to look at it is considering a construction worker who shows up to work and exerts all this physical energy, his focus, his time, his attention to the job. All that energy goes and flows into the creation of this building, which is another greater representation of all these individual contributions of energy that had taken place. That building is then considered worth a certain amount of value. And that value is a contribution or a representation of all the energy that was contributed to it. And then that building is then sold for an even greater store of value, and on and on and on. This is interesting when you consider the modern dilemma of the 1 in 99%, or 1% of the world's population is 99% of the world's wealth. Well, the top 1% wealthiest certainly did not exert 99% of the world's effort or energy to receive that wealth, but that compounded, it accrued over time where there was a transference of this energy from the lower masses to this very small percentage of mankind. So we can get into more of that at a different time, but the point of that, or of this talk, is not to necessarily decry the issues between the haves and the have-nots, but to look at this concept of energy transference and that it exists in everything that we do. We have these vital faculties of our lives: mind, focus, time, emotion, attention, effort, vital resources of energy. Where is it today on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis that I'm sending that energy? Where and with what am I investing in? You all probably know the simple economic principle of compounding interest. When you have a principal balance and it has compounding interest over time, that balance grows exponentially. That same principle, I think, can be applied to our investment of energy, where when we invest it in the right places, in the right things, it compounds. That investment compounds. It becomes exponentially more valuable over time. For example, when I read a book, I not only learn what is in that book, but I connect that learning to the rest of my life experience through my thoughts, through my intuition, and I expand upon it, and I grow. And I grow that particular learning, which then in turn leads to more future learning for myself and for others. So I like to think about these vital faculties and resources of our existence and where they're going. It's an energetic output that if it's not building something for me and for you, if it's not building something for us, it is building something. It's just building it for someone or something else. Apply these thoughts as an example to social media. Think of the time, focused emotion, and thought energy that we invest. Where is all that flowing? To what value is it being transformed and stored? What value is it producing in our lives, in my life, in your life? Where is it going? Well, of course, it is producing a lot of value somewhere. It's producing value for those who create the channels, those who advertise on them. But how is it contributing to our own growth, to our own development? What is it contributing to in terms of the development of those who contribute to it and allow it to exist in the first place? When we engage in these channels, how much do we feel we are receiving back in terms of learning and growing and improving and elevating? Now, of course, anyone can very easily accomplish that if their intention is to do so. But how many of us engage with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, with that as our conscious objective and intention? The intention to develop and improve and deepen our relationship to and understanding of life. And this too becomes self-perpetuating, self-compounding. The more attention and energy we give to things that are unimportant, the more these channels fill with and promote unimportant content. The more that kind of content is promoted, the more it is viewed, and so on and so forth. It's self-perpetuating, self-compounding, just like life. There are a lot of people who complain about the news. They don't like the negativity of the news or the repetitiveness of the news. Well, then stop watching the news. Stop paying attention to the news. It is presenting to us what we pay for, what we pay our mind to, what we give our energy to, right? Again, the people who are producing this content, who are producing this news, are producing it based off what gets viewed, what gets attention, what gets paid for. So if we stop focusing our energy and our attention in that way, in that direction, then they would have no choice but to shift the content. I also like to think about energy exchange and investment when I think about relationships. Am I in a relationship, business, romantic, or otherwise, where my energy feels well spent and reciprocated? Is it mutually beneficial and growing? For me, the ideal dynamic in a human relationship is 1 + 1 = 3, where the whole is greater than the sum of its two parts. We are better, stronger, smarter, more powerful together than we were apart. And that's what happens when we connect and invest our energy with reciprocation, with and to the right people. It gets reciprocated. However, the opposite is also true and probably more often true. And I'll get into this more deeply in another discussion. But often we are investing this life force energy of ours in others, and it's a one-way street. It's flowing to them, but without reciprocation. How do we know and differentiate between all of this, right? We know because we don't feel energized. We don't feel uplifted. We feel taxed. We feel tired. We feel degraded. Our energy is moving in the wrong direction, to the wrong place. By the way, I'm not saying that what is enjoyed or consumed for the sake of entertainment is good or bad. I'm not making a judgment about that. That's up for all of us to decide on our own. What I am saying is that no matter who you are or where you are on this planet, you are contributing to the life experience of the whole. And if we are not happy with the outcome of the whole, or if we are dissatisfied with our own part of that experience, this is one very simple and effective way that we can shift it. We vote with our energy. And by voting with the vital life force of which we are part and master, by voting for ourselves and increasing our awareness bit by bit, tiny step by tiny step, until all that we are is aligned with a higher purpose and an improved life experience, we will not only transform our own lives, but we will transform the world around us. Thank you so much for listening. Click like and subscribe if you'd like to hear more.